2, 1. Keep pushing. In this lap. You can do it. It's 4.7 seconds. 5.6 seconds. It's a one of a kind, only in the DTM. Yes, man, you did it. Thank you, guys. Go, 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 go. Yeah!
Hello and welcome from Oschersleben in Germany. It's the 7th race weekend in the DTM season 2015, and that means it's now or never. And certainly it's never been as close. It's all about the championship, and it's getting tighter and tighter. So let's find out what's happening here in Oschersleben. Enjoy.
The 7th DTM race weekend of 2015 at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. A big crowd gathered at the family-friendly 3.6-kilometre circuit in the east of the country near Magdeburg. Audi arrive in Oschersleben with a weight problem. Mike Rockenfeller's victory at Moscow Raceway means the Ingolstadt manufacturer's cars carry a weight penalty. Audi are well placed in the Drivers' Championship at the moment with 3 realistic contenders. Jamie Green on 103, Eduardo Mortara on 110 and Championship leader Matthias Ekström on 126 points. The Mercedes-Benz frontrunner, though, is Pascal Wehrlein. He's second in the standings on 120 points. He's still young, but is currently in outstanding form. Mercedes also have last year's winner at Oschersleben in their ranks, namely Christian Vittoris. And Paul de Resta has also traditionally done well in Oschersleben. Based on recent results, BMW travel to the Magdeburger border region with the biggest weight advantage. It opens up a big opportunity for the likes of BMW youngsters Tom Blomqvist and also Antonio Felix da Costa, a winner, of course, in Zandvoort. The Munich-based teams also feature the veteran Augusto Farfus, the reigning champion Marco Wittmann, and the 2012 champion Bruno Spengler. So there's no shortage of quality. Spengler is the best placed BMW man in the standings on 104 points. And the grid for race 1 told its own story. BMW making the most of their weight bonus, and Timo Glock, arguably the most illustrious driver in the field, is on pole position with Augusto Farfus alongside him. Then we see Tom Blomqvist, the DTM rookie, with Antonio Felix da Costa. Victor, of course, in Zandvoort. Then we see Bruno Spengler and Pascal Wehrlein chasing hard in the championship. He goes from P6. Marco Wittmann, the current champion, is P7 with Martin Tomczyk alongside him. Then we see Miguel Molina and Eduardo Mortara going from P9 and P10 on the grid. Gary Paffett, the Brit, is P11 with Maxime Martin P12. Then we see Jamie Green and Daniel Juncadella, P13 for Jamie Green, P14 for Juncadella. Paul de Resta, P15, Nico Muller, P16. It's Mike Rockenfeller and Christian Vittoris on the next row of the grid. The returning Timo Scheider is P19 and Robert Wickens P20. Maximilian Gertz and Adrian Tombe. And bringing up the rear, Matthias Ekström and Lucas Auer. So it is a maiden pole position in the DTM for this driver, Timo Glock, and Verena Wright catches up with him now on the grid.
And in pole position is Timo Glock. A fantastic qualifying for you. Your first pole position, and you were very, very excited. We saw the pictures, you raving. Do you also have a good feeling that you're going to end the race really well? Maybe a victory?
Yeah, we need to try. I mean, you know, this is the best position you can be in. So it's all about getting a good start and trying to head off in the distance. But they will be tough against Augusto and Tom, so they are all quick. So, you know, we try our best and see where we end up.
P2 then, Augusto Farfus, now only 56 thousandths short of Timo Glock in qualifying, and also on the front row, showing how very, very close it is in DTM qualifying. In P3, it is the DTM rookie Tom Blomqvist with an outstanding qualifying effort and perhaps springing a minor surprise with a berth on the second row of the grid. He finished 8th in the first race in Moscow, so clearly beginning to find his feet in the DTM series right now, and a driver very much to watch. Antonio Felix da Costa, of course, himself was a successful DTM rookie driver, and he was the best driver in Zandvoort with a win and also a second place, and he's P4. And in P5, it's the 5th BMW driver, Bruno Spengler. So a top 5 lockout for the Munich-based teams. Great news for BMW. And of course, great news for the BMW Motorsport Director, Jens Marquardt.
All BMWs in the top 5, that's fantastic, and all cars in the top 12. So is history going to repeat itself? Do you think we're going to see something similar like in Zandvoort?
Well, I mean, first of all, as you said, it's really a very good starting point for us with this qualifying here for the first race in Oschersleben. Been here strong in the test as well, a track that really suits us. I'm super happy for Timo, he really deserves this, his first pole in DTM since he's in here. So yeah, it's a good setting, but we all know it's still 40 tough minutes and my heart rate is going to go up any second now.
The Mercedes-Benz driver Pascal Wehrlein will start from P6. Of course, very much involved in that championship battle with Matthias Ekstrom. The Mercedes-Benz youngster is a cool and collected customer, seemingly skilled at extracting the very best from any given situation. His DTM boss at Mercedes-Benz is Uli Fritz, and he's understandably pleased with him.
So Uli Fritz is here with me now. Your best Mercedes is Pascal in P6, and I guess you can be pretty happy that the toughest competition is all the way in P23, that is Matthias Ekström. So I guess, are you looking forward to a good race? Where do you think can Pascal go from P6?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, it is not a very long race. We don't have a pit stop. So, yeah, it's difficult to say at the moment. Performance-wise, it was good. We just didn't get the lucky lap this morning in qualifying. So, yeah, we will see. Obviously, Oschersleben is quite difficult to overtake. Yeah, we just need to make the best out of it.
Well, the engineers have made the best out of Miguel Molina's car, because at the end of the qualifying session he clattered into the barriers. Nonetheless, he was the quickest of the Audis and will go from P9 on the grid. He, of course, is suffering with the weight penalties that Audi bring here to Oschersleben, but he isn't the only driver, because the championship charger, Matthias Ekström, who's in that battle with Pascal Wehrlein, he too is affected by weight, as we see Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich and the Matthias Ekström car there. Now, Matthias chose to run in the second part of that qualifying session, and they found they had a gear shift problem. Now, clearly, there was no time to be able to repair that, so he couldn't set a brilliant quali time. Were it not for the fact that Lucas Auer takes a grid drop, Matthias Ekström will be starting from the back of the pack, which means our points haul will be difficult.
Dieter Gas, you guys, your team worked really hard on Molina's car, so obviously, luckily, that all worked out and he'll be starting in the race. But what about Matthias Ekström? Why is he starting in P23? What was the problem, and could you solve the problem for the race now?
Yeah, I think on Miguel first, the mechanics did really an excellent job. I even saw some BMW mechanics passing by in front of the garage looking in and applauding, so I think that was quite good. For Matthias, it was really a pity. He had a problem with the gear shifting. Which means basically the gears weren't recognized and we couldn't fix that during the session. So he didn't have the chance to go out for a second time. After the first time the balance was quite okay, but he already started having a problem during the first attempt. So it was really a shame for him, and definitely will be uphill struggle for him from second last.
We join at the end of the formation lap, and Timo Glock is parked up in his grid box. Here comes Timo Scheider, the returning Timo Scheider here at Oschersleben. Missed out at Moscow, of course. Let's hear some team radio now.
Cars are approaching the grid now.
Augusto Farfus being wished good luck as we go into the team garages of Audi and BMW.
Last car is just getting into position now.
And also Mercedes-Benz. We await the lights out, which go out now. Timo Glock will dive to the left-hand side of the track to try and protect that position going into the left-hander, which is the tight left-hander, the first turn here at Oschersleben. Tom Blomqvist making his way down the outside, as you can see. But Augusto Farfus sends him out a little bit wide. That means it's Timo Glock leading from Antonio Felix da Costa, and around goes Jamie Green, among others that we can see at the back of the picture there. It's always a pinch point, that first turn, and Jamie Green gets going once again. But I'm sure there will be debris all over the circuit. We'll get a replay of the incident in a few moments' time as we're on board with Pascal Wehrlein, who needs to maximise his points haul, given that Matthias Ekstrom is right at the back of the grid. And we stay on board with Pascal Wehrlein, but the safety car does get called for.
Safety car, Timo, safety car.
So safety car out, and there we can see some of the debris through that turn 1, which will have to be cleared up before the cars will be released, and we go back to racing. Timo Glock with a brilliant start. Augusto Farfus less so, and actually Augusto Farfus went out wide and took Tom Blomqvist with him. Let's see a replay of the start then. And we can see what happened to Jamie Green. So Timo Glock immediately over to the left-hand side of the grid. And that camera shot right from our commentary booths. Antonio Felix da Costa was on a charge, but Augusto Farfus, he sent Tom Blomqvist wide. Now let's try and piece together the Jamie Green incident there. Well, gets hit by Robert Wickens, but I don't think that's what's caused it, although it might be, because Robert Wickens, look, dives down the inside. That means Mike Rockenfeller has to lock up. Mike Rockenfeller and Jamie Green come together, and that's Nico Muller in the Audi as well. Let's see it again as we look a little bit further back. There is Robert Wickens trying to go for a gap which isn't quite car-sized. That pushes Mike Rockenfeller into Jamie Green. He gets turned around. Robert Wickens with a secondary hit on Jamie Green as well. Let's see it from Robert Wickens. This is where he's going up the inside of Mike Rockenfeller. Rocky forced to go out wide. Nico Muller gets hit, Jamie Green gets hit, but Jamie Green was already spinning then, and he was spinning because Mike Rockenfeller had been pushed out as well. So we do return to racing now. The green lights are on. It's Timo Glock. And Bruno Spengler is challenging Antonio Felix da Costa for P2, and he goes through. So Antonio Felix da Costa from P2 back down to P3. It's Bruno Spengler now who is in P2. As for this time of asking, everyone comes through that turn okay. There is Bruno Spengler. We go on board with him, and now the chase will be on down to Timo Glock. And BMW's 1, 2, 3, 4 as we see a load of debris on the track there. Now, I wonder if that's from the earlier collision where some debris has come off cars.
Safety car, Timo, it's another safety car. Safety car, be careful, there are other debris. Safety.
Well, that answers it all, doesn't it? Robert Wickens loses the entire engine cover. That is a result of the opening clash, and Robert Wickens has to retire his car.
So I'm now here with Robert Wickens. Robert, very unfortunate for you. Obviously, race is over. However, you're still under investigation. What happened from your point of view?
Yeah, I had a really strong start, and I went to the inside basically the whole way down the straight. And in the braking, Rocky moved to the inside. I don't know if he saw me or not, but I then had to go really tight to the inside and to avoid him. And unfortunately, yeah, just there's nowhere I could go, and when I broke, I felt a hit from behind as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's some damage on the rear of the car, obviously more on the front, but yeah, it's not been a good day so far.
So whilst Verena was talking to Robert, you could see the front end of Robert Wickens' car completely come off, and that's the debris that's being cleared away by the marshals here now. So safety car back out, but the safety car back in now as we return to racing. It's Glock retaining the lead from Bruno Spengler and Antonio Felix da Costa. And Wehrlein is very, very close to Augusto Farfus now. Pascal Wehrlein needs to bank as many points as he possibly can to take advantage of the situation that sees Matthias Ekstrom right at the back of the pack. And not able to get past Augusto Farfus as they run through the hotel turn at the moment. But he's got an inside line now, and is he going to go through? Augusto Farfus and Pascal Wehrlein side by side. But as you can see, the attack was futile, and Augusto Farfus remains ahead of Pascal Wehrlein. Well, at the moment, Matthias Ekstrom is out of the points. There, we see him. He's running in P17 at the moment behind Paul de Resta. Now, if it stays this way, of course, that's great news for Pascal Wehrlein, who's able to maximise the points, and Matthias Ekstrom is going to be pointless unless he can get past that Mercedes-Benz of Paul de Resta. Of course, he has benefited from the fact that his Sin cars turned around, and a retirement for Robert Wickens, and this looks like a retirement for Jamie Green as well. Final couple of revs then from Jamie Green as the car will be pushed back into the garage. So Jamie Green retires, I suspect, as a consequence of that opening lap skirmish where he got turned around. Great shame. Now as we see Timo Scheider and also Nico Müller and Christian Vittoris, they're all running over bits of carbon fibre which are still littering the track, which could be problematic to tyres. That's one we'll keep an eye on. But in the meantime, Verena has caught up with Jamie Green.
Very disappointed, Jamie, I guess. I mean, this season was working out so well for you, but now turn one just kind of killed your race, that's for sure. At this point, are you already thinking in regards to the championship, it's throwing you way back, or are you just focusing on now and tomorrow, I guess?
Well, I know I'm focusing on tomorrow now. The situation today with the BMWs all being at the front means that, you know, no Audi's really going to score highly. I think Wehrlein is in the top 6 or 7, so that's the main problem for us, really, championship-wise. But, you know, to score today was going to be difficult. So, you know, I got taken out in the first corner. I qualified in the middle of the pack, and then that's what can happen when you're in the middle of the pack, unfortunately. Somebody hit me, and yeah, car's damaged, so it makes sense to stop now and get it ready for tomorrow.
All focus on tomorrow then for Jamie Green. Sadly, we're on lap 10. DRS is in use, and Bruno Spengler is using that to try and narrow the gap down to Timo Glock. But Timo is driving an outstanding race at the moment in front, and of course he doesn't have the benefit of DRS. So Bruno Spengler throwing absolutely everything at it as we go on board with him now. You can see just how hard he's working that BMW to try and keep on terms with Timo Glock. Gary Pavitt is in strife now as we can see his car trundling down the start-finish straight and being passed by a whole bunch of cars. Looks like it's imminent retirement for Gary Pavitt. That doesn't fill Uli Fritz on the Mercedes pit wall with much joy. And Verena Wright will do her level best to catch up with Gary now and find out what the reasons are for his retirement.
Hi Gary, we heard something about that you had a problem with overheating. Is that what caused you to slow down and to actually now quit the race?
No, I mean, we were really struggling with grip because there was a lot of contact in the first 2 corners and I lost a lot of aero parts and the car was very slow, so we were really struggling. And then for some reason the steering became heavy as well, so I don't know what problem we have, but we have a problem on the steering as well, so yeah.
We have a lot of work till tomorrow, so you can be fit for the race tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean the car was good today. Most of it's bodywork, so it should be okay.
Battle going on here between Paul di Resta and Mike Rockenfeller, 2 former champions, of course. Mike Rockenfeller in the Audi and Paul di Resta in the Mercedes-Benz. And I'm not sure whether Mike Rockenfeller hasn't got a problem here. Now Matthias Ekstrom goes through, so does Lucas Auer, and that's Maximilian Gertz in the other Mercedes-Benz before we say Adrian Tombe. Now, he is also, Mike Rockenfeller, under investigation for causing a crash. Both Rockenfeller and Wickens are being summoned to see the stewards after the race. And head of Audi Sport Team Phoenix, Ernst Moser, then awaits the Mike Rockenfeller car coming down the pit lane. It's another retirement in this very, very hard race, 1 of 2 here at Oschersleben. And Verena is into the garage and find out what's wrong with Mike Rockenfeller.
Yeah, a lot of action, a lot of drama here today. And I know, Rocky, we talked about it earlier. You knew it was going to be a tough race, but that it had to end like this. Why was that? Is it also a result of the incident in Turn 1?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Turn 1, I had a decent start, not great. Tried to go on the inside, and I think I was late on the brakes for sure. Then everything packed up like normal in this area of the field, and then Wickens was on the inside of me, really, really late. And then I just clipped Jamie. So obviously it was not great, but yeah, it's racing, and I damaged my car in the front. Then I stayed out, I tried, but there was no reason to continue. I was so slow because of the damage. We have to look what it is, because it doesn't look too bad, just small damage on the front left, but somehow the car was undrivable.
Well, let's go for a trio of slow-mos then. First of all, it's Pascal Wehrlein fending off Marco Wittmann. And holding on to his P5 place is Pascal Wehrlein at the moment, and just into the picture is Tom Blomqvist in P6. This is Lucas Auer getting into the back almost of Matthias Ekstrom in the second of our trio of slow-mos. Great shots that we're able to bring you, and the third one is Eduardo Mortara. First of all, he loses a place to Daniel Juncadella, and then loses out to Maxime Martin and Timo Scheider as well, and ultimately retires. It's bad news for the man that lies third in the standings. Of course, though, it is good news for Pascal Wehrlein, who's trying to maximise his points haul, a fact that the team soon let him know.
5 laps, Pascal, 5 laps, Mortara retired. Mortara retired, Ekström P14.
Well, obviously, Hans-Jürgen Abt doesn't look very happy about that. Let's find out what went wrong with Eduardo Mortara. Here's Verena.
Edo, what happened? Very unfortunately, obviously, yet another Audi that had to retire. What happened with you?
You know, I first need to see the video in turn 1, but I had a big crash from behind. I think it was perfect. Yeah, I mean, the first time I cannot say. I mean, the second time he basically made the right corner in the first lap, I think, and made the left corner in the third or fourth lap. And for a guy that is always saying that the others are idiots and that they cannot drive, I think he needs to have sometime a good look at the video of what he did today. But I mean, anyway, we were fighting for P10, so in the end we were not fighting for the first positions. It's okay.
This is Lucas Aron, Matthias Ekström in replay, and there's a little bit of contact between the Audi and the Mercedes-Benz. That's not going to make the Audi any better, truthfully, is it? Lucas Aron fighting for all he's worth, though. And we look at the battle for 11th between Timo Scheider in the Audi and Maxime Martin, and Martin holds on to his place for now. So the returning Timo Scheider fighting hard also. That car, of course, being driven in Moscow by Antonio Giovinazzi, but Timo Scheider back behind the wheel and hounding Maxime Martin. On his own, though, Timo Glock, without a problem, as you can see, still got a comfortable margin over Bruno Spengler as he rounds the final turn and will head for home. It'll be his second career DTM win. The checkers await. Timo Glock will win from Bruno Spengler.
Top job, mate, well done.
Timo gets congratulated. Antonio Felix da Costa is P3. As the team on the pit wall celebrates, so too does Timo Glock with some donuts. What a great day for BMW.
Jens Marquardt, that was a fantastic race, certainly. I mean, first 4 positions, all BMW, and all in all, 7 BMW in the top 8. Are you delighted?
I'm really impressed. I mean, this was really a fantastic result. I'm super proud of all guys, but Timo really did so well. And I mean, you could see the speed of Bruno today, and he was pushing hard all the time, and that was all fair and square racing. We didn't do any games or anything. It's not necessary in this championship, and I think also Timo gave a good answer to some of the obstacles from Moscow. I think that was the right answer, and obviously also last year I think he left Oschersleben a bit frustrated when he slammed the door of his car when he parked it, so maybe all of that accumulated today in this fantastic result, and really proud of the guys. Yeah.
Here's the result in full then. Glock, Spengler, Felix da Costa and Farfus then, the top 4, all BMWs.
You were fighting really, really hard, and you're going to be up on the podium, 3rd place. How's it feel?
I think it's a great feeling always to be on a DTM podium. This is such a competitive championship that to be up here just feels really cool. And yeah, I cannot be totally happy if I'm, a proper race driver, because the gap to P1 was good. Was a bit too big, so we'll try and fix that for tomorrow. But with the position, I'm super happy. Great day for BMW again. It's been a tough season, and everybody in Munich is pushing so hard. So I'm happy that we have a podium lockout today.
It is a podium lockout as Timo Glock delights by going right to the very front of the podium. Patted by Antonio Felix da Costa, and Gerd Neumann makes the trophy presentation to the M-Tech team, who are all absolutely delighted, and Jens Marquardt must be very, very satisfied indeed. There's Bruno Spengler. He always loves a podium, and let's hear from him.
Very happy, Bruno Spengler, I can see. Congratulations, 2nd place. You were fighting so hard. Are you happy with the 2nd place?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for sure, I had a really good start. Good first 2 corners. And then, Timo had a really good pace. I fought hard to try and get closer to him, to try maybe overtake with DRS, but he was too quick, and I could not quite stay there. At the end, I tried really hard still. I never gave up, but, it was 2nd at the end. for sure I'm very happy. I'm always happier if I can win. But definitely great result for the whole team, for BMW. You know, after Moscow, to have again a good result here was very important for everyone, and it's great for the team. You know, thank you for the great job of the whole team. We had 5 cars in the top 5 after quali today, which was great. So you know, it's amazing. It's a great result. Happy to be second, and also happy for the team MTech to be 1 and 2. That's great.
Well, despite BMW's domination today, it still looks like it's going to be an Audi or a Mercedes driver that takes the Drivers' Championship. But today's race winner is Timo Glock from BMW.
Well, congratulations, a fantastic race from pole to victory. It's your first pole you had today, it's your second victory. You've got to be just on top of the world the way you're feeling.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, I was pretty nervous on the start, I have to say. You know, it's a long time ago that I had a clean view in front of me. And I just thought to myself, just get a good start, just get a good start. And, you know, I got everything together and had a good pace. But then, you know, the 2 safety car session, or the 2 safety cars came out, twice came out, and that was quite tricky. I mean, you know, you have to have a good strategy to get straight away a gap. And at the first restart, I had a really good gap already to Antonio. But then the second one came straight after. And that was a bit of a shame, but, you know, it was clear when Bruno was behind. You know, for me, it was clear I need to show that I can pull away, and I just got it and got him out of the DRS window, and then I just drove it to the end, just tried to control it, and the last 3-4 laps were just quite long and emotional and really nice, I have to say. And thanks to my team, to BMW, to Ernest, very special for him as well for 1 and 2. And thank you to my family at back home, my beautiful wife and my little son.
Hey, Timo, that's got you some house points. And Ernest then, he certainly gets his fair share of the Henkeltrocken that is sprayed on the podium. What a successful day for Team MTech, and Timo Glock grins from ear to ear. Fantastic. Here's the grid for race 2 then, and it's another BMW lockout on the front row with Augusto Farfus and Tom Blomqvist. Augusto Farfus on pole position. Better quali from Pascal Wehrlein, who goes from P3, and Antonio Felix da Costa is P4. Then we see Paul de Resta and the current champion, Marco Wittmann. The winner from race 1 is Timo Glock, and he goes from P7 with Christian Vitoris alongside him. Then we see Miguel Molina and Bruno Spengler, P9 and P10. As we go to the next row of the grid, it's Gary Paffett from P11 and Martin Tomczyk, P12. Jamie Green, who retired early on in race 1, he goes from P13. Maxime Martin is P14. Then we see Eduardo Mortara and Mike Rockenfeller. Lucas Auer and Matthias Ekstrom. Towards the back of the grid we go with Maximilian Gertz and Timo Scheider, P19 and P20. And the final 2 rows occupied by Nico Muller and Daniel Juncker-Deya, and also Adrian Tombe and Robert Wickens. Compared to Saturday's race 1 at Oschersleben, the grid then on Sunday shows little change in that there's no Audi in the top 8 positions. In the grandstands, though, there are even more paying customers than the day before. And, of course, there is a different driver on pole position. It's Augusto Farfus.
Yeah, Augusto, yesterday you had a good 4th place. Today, pole position. What does your gut feeling say about snatching victory today, maybe?
Well, we are here to of course, to win the race. Starting from pole position is a good, it's the best you can get. We have a good car. I'm confident, want to get a good start and push as hard as I can.
So that's Augusto Farfus, and here we have Tom Blomqvist, a superb follow-up to his excellent qualifying on Saturday, which we know was no one-off. All he needs to do now is to translate it into a great finish. Yesterday he ended up in P7. Tom Blomqvist, DTM rookie for 2015 then. And interrupting the BMW dominance in qualifying is this man, P3, Pascal Wehrlein, for Mercedes-Benz. Now, it's a promising grid position for the championship leader who's looking to stretch his lead today. Next up, it is P4, and it's Antonio Felix da Costa for BMW. A repeat of yesterday's 4th spot on the grid for Antonio Felix da Costa. P5 is the Mercedes-Benz driver, Paul di Resta. Looks as though the Mercedes-Benz engineers have teased just a little bit extra out of their cars overnight. See what Paul di Resta can do from P5. In P6, we find the current champion, Marco Wittmann. He's almost as cool a character as Pascal Wehrlein, but somehow doesn't seem to be quite as sparkling as he did in his championship year last year. Marco Wittmann. Timo Glock made a small error in the last corner in quali for race 2. He was in fact only a 10th down on the pole set of Farfus, but that translates into 7 places in the DTM. Timo Glock.
Wow, after a fantastic day yesterday, today's looking really good for you as well. You secured the front row, you've got 5 BMWs in the top 10. So are you pretty confident that today is going to be just brilliant as well?
Well, you never know. It's racing. And you have to go through the first corner. But obviously looking at the first 5-6 rows, there is enough BMWs to hopefully get through it cleanly. And then hopefully with the front row, we can secure that through the first lap. And then I think it's already a good first start, and then we'll see.
Thank you, Jens Marquardt from BMW, the very best Audi driver. Qualified P9, and that's Miguel Molina that we can see there. Now, Matthias Ekström, champion in 2004 and 2007, but starts from P18. I wonder if Audi have got a heavy-duty strategy lined up to try and get Matthias Ekström into the points.
Dieter Gas, now terrible weekend for Matthias Ekström. It's got to be said. He lost his leadership in the championship, and today for the race, you only have one car in the top 10, and that is Molina in P10. Are you hoping that maybe the weather is going to help you out here a bit?
Normally I don't, but I think today I wouldn't complain if it did, yes. It's basically one of the few hopes that we have to be able to come forward. But still, we have Miguel in the top 10. We have a few ideas how to help him furthermore, so maybe we can get him a little bit more forward as well in a normal race.
Well, it's the end of the formation lap as we see Augusto Farfus and Tom Blomqvist make their way into their grid boxes here at Oschersleben. Ready for race 2 across this weekend. Rest of the cars come into the grid. You can see the Lucas Auer car there as we see Hans-Jürgen Abt there in the middle of that picture in Audi, and Uli Fritz to the left-hand side of this picture in the Mercedes-Benz garage, and to the very right is Jens Marquardt for BMW. We throw the lights to the top of the screen. The lights are out and we are away for race 2. Looked like a good start from the BMW pairing, although Tom Blomqvist has got the better start of Augusto Farfus. Pascal Wehrlein being squeezed out by Antonio Felix da Costa and potentially Marco Wittmann as well. Sure enough, he does, and round goes Molina in the Audi. Very, very bad news for the best placed Audi on the grid. He has spun around. And it's Nico Müller, I think, that is stuck in the gravel as we're on board with Pascal Wehrlein. So Molina is around and the car stays there.
Can you bring the car back?
So being asked if the car can be brought back, we can see the yellow. Surely it's going to be a safety car. Yes, indeed, it is. Safety car is out. Here we can see a replay of the start from our heli shot then, and Tom Blomqvist with an absolutely blistering start, getting the better of Augusto Farfus into turn 1. So how did Molina go round? Caught by Christian Vittoris, I think. And that meant he was stuck there, and Nico Müller had nowhere to go but into the gravel. Let's see it from this angle. I think it was Christian Vittoris that just tagged Miguel Molina. And around he went. See it from on board with Bruno Spengler. And Spengler doing jolly well to avoid, to be truthful. Maxime Martin on the left-hand side of that, and now we can see the Molina car being towed away. So that is the end of his race. As we go back to racing then, and it is Blomqvist that leads from Farfus, then it's Antonio Felix da Costa and Marco Wittmann, and we're on board with Pascal Wehrlein, who's tucked in behind the BMW of Marco Wittmann. Martin Tomczyk and Paul di Resta in the next 2 places, and Timo Glock trying to make up places as well as they go through this hotel turn once again here at Oschersleben. So the race already affected by a safety car, and that is how racy Tomczyk is looking on Paul di Resta. So Paul di Resta really having to defend with the Mercedes-Benz just ahead of the BMW at the moment. BMW a great showing this weekend, that's for sure. Blomqvist leads from Farfus, Antonio Felix da Costa, then it's Marco Wittmann, and the best of the others is Pascal Wehrlein, who is running in P5. We're on board with Timo Glock then, who's tucked up behind the BMW of Martin Tomczyk. There is our leader, Tom Blomqvist, and Augusto Farfus with nothing to take to Tom Blomqvist at the moment. Blomqvist really is gapping him. And Bruno Spengler with a heavy-duty move through the gravel there manages to keep the car going. He loses yet another place to Matthias Ekström. So Matthias Ekström, and there is Robert Wickens, who tried to take advantage as well and wasn't able to do so. Bruno Spengler has shut the door. Just see Eduardo Mortara making a move at the back of that picture as well. That was Jamie Green with, well, that was quite a forceful move on Bruno Spengler, which puts him out onto the gravel. And then, of course, that played into the hands of Matthias Ekström. See it again. You can see how Bruno got the hit there through the gravel. And Matthias Ekström just dived to the inside and was able to move up a place. Clattering through the gravel and over the curbs there. Did well to keep it going, truthfully. Matthias Ekström was just able to dive inside. This is Christian Vitoris and Maxime Martin and Jamie Green then. Christian Vitoris running in P9 with Maxime Martin. And then Jamie Green, then it is Matthias Ekström. This is Eduardo Mortara on Robert Wickens. Now, does the Audi make the move stick? Yes. Let's go on board with Robert Wickens. And there you can see Eduardo Mortara just able to hold onto the grip and keep it tight through the hotel turn. Our race leader, though, Tom Blomqvist. Then it's Augusto Farfus, Antonio Felix da Costa, Marco Wittmann, before there's a gap back to Pascal Wehrlein, who seems to be losing out to those BMWs. He's not able to keep in touch with them. There is Christian Vitoris. We were watching him just a few moments ago. And diving up the inside, that's a good move from Maxime Martin. What a brilliant overtake. That was a textbook of how you can make that corner work. Just absolutely scythed past Christian Vitoris. So Maxime Martin moves up another place. Stand by, because Jamie Green and Matthias Ekström will be trying to do exactly the same. That's how he did it. Textbook from Maxime Martin, lock-up from Bruno Spengler. Lap later, and you can see just how Maxime Martin, now he's been released from the clutches of Vitoris, has been able to get up the road. Jamie Green is going to go for the same move here. We can see it from on board with Matthias Ekström. Is Ekström going to be able to advantage himself of that as well? He is. So that's brilliant. And Bruno Spengler, not without a nerf, does exactly the same. So Christian Vitoris really losing out there. Well, the hole was left really by Jamie Green, who set the move up perfectly. Let's see it from up high. There Jamie Green goes through. Now the second part of this, as Christian Vitoris tries to fight back, the hole was left for Matthias Ekström. And then as Christian Vitoris tried to close the door, he found that gap filled with the BMW bank BMW of Bruno Spengler. Well, Spengler is the first of those to come in. It's lap 12. He's at a standstill for 2.7 seconds.
Push now, Bruno. You have to push as much.
Very impressive. Now, almost all of the leading group come in for fresh rubber. Farfus, da Costa, Wittmann, Glock. And let's put the clock on Marco Wittmann. He's off again after only 2 seconds. Re-enters the pit lane simultaneously with Antonio Felix da Costa. But da Costa stays ahead. And we can also see Timo Glock and Jamie Green. Ekström was also in for his stop, as you can see. And now in comes the race leader, Tom Blomqvist. Making his mandatory stop. Wehrlein is in the pits too. Let's put the clock on Tom Blomqvist here as the team go to work. Not as quick as Wittmann, it's 3.7 seconds. However, he should still be ahead of Augusto Farfus. There's Tom Blomqvist, there's the graphic on the right-hand side of the screen, and yeah, Tom Blomqvist is going to be out well in advance of Augusto Farfus. But just in the background there, we can see two cars together in the pit lane. It is Martin Tomczyk and Paul di Resta. Well, we'll see if anything comes of that. In the meantime, there is Augusto Farfus. Oh, yes. Under investigation, Martin Tomczyk then for an unsafe release. Let's see it in slow-mo here. And there you can see the cars absolutely side by side. Tomczyk just ahead of Paul de Resta as we see Maxime Martin. So that puts Martin Tomczyk in 6th place, but as we know, he is under investigation. So we will see what comes of that. Meantime, there is Antonio Felix da Costa and Marco Wittmann.
To the pits, we have a drive-through for unsafe release.
Well, now we know what the answer is, don't we? The team radio telling us that Martin Tomczyk does get a drive-through penalty. His season just seems to go from bad to worse as we continue to watch this battle between Marco Wittmann and Antonio Felix da Costa here. Then we see Pascal Wehrlein. Crucially, of course, for Pascal Wehrlein, he is some measure ahead of Matthias Ekström. So there is Martin Tomczyk then, who serves his drive-through penalty, which actually was going to be utterly futile because just a couple of laps later, he would retire the car.
After a perfect first lap, I got a drive-through penalty for unsafe release. It's actually a shame because it's not really a rule out there how we should act and how we get the penalties done proper. So we have to stick together and find a solution because at the moment it's just playing cards out there, and it's not the way how we should act.
Well, clearly Tomczyk feeling aggrieved. Mortara still not being in for his stop and is holding up Paul de Resta. Behind them we see that Ekström has lost a place to Spengler in the pit stops. There are no points for P13 as Eduardo Mortara hits the curb and runs wide. De Resta and Glock comfortably overtake him and then allow the rest of that group to pass.
The car is too undrivable.
Well, I think that means the car is undrivable. Eduardo Mortara then with a grassy excursion. Here we can see it in slow-mo as he skirts across the grass then. Eduardo Mortara. Far from brilliant weekend for him. In the meantime, look at that gap that Tom Blomqvist has over Augusto Farfus. Absolutely brilliant driving for Tom Blomqvist in P1, then it's Farfus P2. Marco Wittmann is P3, then it's Antonio Felix da Costa, who's gradually being caught now by Pascal Wehrlein. We go on board with Pascal Wehrlein as he continues this fight to the BMW ahead of him. And there we see the retirement of Eduardo Mortara. Antonio Felix da Costa battles away, widens the gap a bit between himself and Pascal Wehrlein. So Pascal Wehrlein at the moment remains in 5th place. You can see the gap on the screen between the two of them. The real fight between BMW and Mercedes-Benz. But as I mentioned before, crucially for Pascal Wehrlein at this point is the fact that he is ahead of Matthias Ekström and therefore banking points, and that is absolutely crucial. Here in slow-mo replay, the battle between the two of them then. It's a superb slow-mo shot as we see Pascal Wehrlein really attack the curbs. And
14 laps to go, Bruno, 14 laps.
We hear Bruno Spengler's team advising him that he has 14 laps left to go. Some fantastic replay images here. That Mercedes-Benz really being thrown around this 3.696 kilometre Oschersleben circuit, proving that he's a racer. Many would perhaps settle for just banking the points. He is still absolutely after Antonio Felix da Costa, and just wonder whether it is worth the risk. Only he can answer.
Still, I took a lot of risk and I pushed very hard and I locked up my tires. I had some big moments and big slides, but they were really, really quick in the 3rd sector, and the only chance to overtake here is in the first corner, into the first corner, and I was always too far away. And then in the 1st and 2nd sector, I was quicker than him, but you can't overtake in the last sector. And then at the end, you know, 5th position is better than out.
Well, obviously Pascal had everything absolutely under control. However, for Lucas Auer, right at the very end, he clatters into the barriers, across the gravel, through the grass, and then a very, very big impact into the barriers.
Yellow 13, yellow 13.
So a huge impact for Lucas Auer. Thankfully, he is okay.
Red flag, red flag.
And that means the end of the race, and that means Tom Blomqvist takes his maiden DTM victory without actually taking the checkered flag. Red flag brought about by that impact from Lucas Auer into the barriers. Well, as you can see, he's being led away from the car. Very, very big impact indeed, and quite rightly the medical team there making sure that he sits down. Well, BMW celebrate a second 1, 2, 3, 4 triumph in Oschersleben. Tom Blomqvist, of course, he is the race winner. And he wins from Augusto Farfus and Marco Wittmann. Those two you can see on screen as we go back to the pit wall where they're celebrating loud and proud. So they're all followed home by Antonio Felix da Costa. Then it's Pascal Wehrlein, Paul de Resta, Timo Glock, Jamie Green, Maxime Martin and Bruno Spengler. So the red flag brings the race to an early close, and it's Tom Blomqvist that does take the win and his maiden DTM victory. Jens Marquardt was happy yesterday. I bet he's delighted today.
Time to celebrate. You did a fantastic job, your team. Oh my God, first 4 positions once again, BMW. How happy are you?
Well, first of all, I didn't do the job. The guys did a fantastic job. I am really super happy, and I mean, heads up for Tom Blomqvist. Bloody hell. Rookie, and yeah, from second, good start, and then just was driving off into the sunset. Bloody hell.
Well, apologies for Jens Marquardt's colourful language, but what a result he's had this weekend for BMWs in race 2. Top 4, Pascal Wehrlein, P5. Tom Blomqvist is the winner. He takes his maiden DTM victory here at Oschersleben. He receives the trophy, holds it aloft and salutes his team. It's a moment he'll remember for a very long time.
Tom, congratulations. What an enormous job you did there. I mean, you just overtook Farfus in the very first turn, and then you aced it from there. Not one single mistake. You were in your own world. How does it feel, your first victory?
Words can't really describe the feeling now. I mean, really, it's been a tough start this season, but it's really come good on. I couldn't have thought of anything more. You know, get a win this year is unbelievable. But yeah, the guys gave me a great car today. I knew if I just managed to get into the lead, I think it would make my life a lot easier, obviously. But yeah, I was confident that if I get in the lead, I could build that gap. But I didn't think it was going to be that good. So I really have to thank BMW, Team RBM. You know, they've done a great job this weekend, I have to say.
And quite frankly, looking into your mirror, seeing that you were so far ahead, were you almost a bit relaxed?
You never relaxed. It's awfully hot in the car. But no, I mean, it was a great job by the team as well. Pit stop, everything just, you know, worked out to plan. But yeah, that gap, yeah, made my life a little bit easier. But on the other end, it made the race extremely long.
Congratulations. Celebrate like hell. You really deserve it. And now let me grab Augusto. Augusto, obviously here a very happy winner, but unfortunately for you, because you were starting in pole and your start you just didn't ace it. You're second place. That is fantastic. But are you also a bit upset about it? I mean, victory could have happened as well for you.
Yeah, of course we were here for the victory, but I mean, he did an awesome job. My style wasn't great. The clutch was a bit aggressive, so I got wheel spin. But I'm super happy for Tom. I mean, he's a really good kid. He was working hard, and I'm super happy for the team. So, of course, I was here for the victory. But going home with a second, I did 30 points on the weekend. It's just amazing. So I'm proud for the team, proud for Tom. So I'm happy for his victory, and I'm very happy for my second place.
Well, a points haul for Pascal Wehrlein. A barren weekend for Matthias Ekstrom means that Wehrlein's on top of the points chart, but don't rule out Mortara, Green and Spengler quite yet either.
So, Marco, tough race, but congratulations to third place. And you were fighting really hard, obviously. How do you feel about the third place?
Actually, I'm really happy. It was a great race. I had a phenomenal start, a phenomenal first corner where I was able to overtake both Mercedes. After the pit stop, I was pushing really to Antonio, could overtake him and took the third place. So I'm really happy starting from P6, finishing P3. Great result for me. Congrats to Tom for his first win and RBM, and of course BMW, a great result.
Yeah, BMW, you guys can win. You can celebrate tonight, that's for sure. And I guess you're looking forward to the Nürburgring in 2 weeks, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have good memories last year, and it's a home race for my team RMG. So really looking forward to it. Of course, we get some weight in the car, but that just means we try to push even harder to compromises for Nürburgring.
Right, so thank you, Marco, and we'll see you in 2 weeks at the Nürburgring. Till then, bye-bye.